Hey everyone, and welcome back to another B4S Media video of why you should study in Japan. My name is Marco Torres, and let's get started. So why should you study in Japan? So the last couple of videos, we talked about what studying abroad is, and in this most recent one, we talked about, well, what is amazing about Japan. We went through a lot of different examples, and we couldn't really get through anything more than that. But this time, we can get through a lot more. I actually have a special guest with me today, and his name's Alan Yasuda. He's actually a really good friend of mine, and he's from the University of New Mexico. He's an aspiring director, and he's Japanese. He was born in Japan, and he moved here when he was in first grade. Not only did Alan move here to America when he was young, but also he continues to go back and forth to Japan to see some of his family, like his grandparents and cousins and whatnot, multiple times throughout his entire life. He's had a lot of experience going in Japan, living in Japan, and traveling all throughout Japan. Alan is an amazing person that I'm really happy to say is one of my great friends. And Alan, thank you so much for being here today with us and talking with me today.
And thank you so much for having me, Marco.
I brought this up in a previous video, but I want to talk a little bit more about the food. Alan, what kind of food do you think is the most iconic and honestly is your favorite food in Japan?
You cannot go wrong with the food. Other than sushi and other cultural things that Japanese offers, such as okonomiyaki, which is very popular in Hiroshima. Okonomiyaki is basically a stuffed pancake. So unlike a regular pancake where it's just the pancake mix, cooked in a stove, what you have is filled with a cabbage, green onion, and bean sprouts. And what you do is you pour it into the pan, flip like a pancake, and it comes out with this nice stuffed pancake filled with vegetables. And what you do is you drizzle it with bits of nori, QP mayonnaise, personally, and bulldog sauce, which is a type of a barbecue sauce brand that the Japanese use. It's very popular. And Hiroshima is very well known for making okonomiyaki in Japan. So if you guys ever go to Japan, I highly recommend going to Hiroshima. The way they do Western food, especially with European bakeries, is one of the best I've ever tasted. And we're even talking about chain bakeries too, chain places like 7-Eleven. They have extraordinary amount of snacks, takeouts. It's wonderful, and I miss it every time I I fly back from Japan from visiting my family. I always miss the food.
I think for me specifically, I really like kiritampo, but kiritampo is a regional Japanese food, specifically from Akita-shi, so Akita City. But I'll get into that more later when we do the Akita City video. However, I guess one piece of food that absolutely love is sushi. Sushi is just so amazing, especially fresh sushi from Japan. Sushi in Japan is just so amazing. I went to this one place. It's a conveyor belt sushi diner. Now, if you've never been to one of these, it's pretty much a little train with sushi will like go around the entire restaurant and bring you food, or they'll already have food on the plates. Here in America, we have a few of those, but they don't really have the food already on there. What you do is you order the food using a little iPad, and then the food comes out on a little conveyor belt. In Japan, though, their food can actually be right on the plate, and you can just take it right off and just start eating it there. And I've also seen it in Japan where you can order right from the iPad, and it's not really different from America in that sense. But again, it's really cheap, though. It's very cheap. It's like $1 cheap for some sushi. And good sushi too. You can get full off of $1 to the $2 sushis. I think the most expensive sushi was like $4, and that was giant like squid tentacles. And just saying, I know that sounds pretty weird eating giant squid tentacles, but they were pretty good. It was pretty good until I bit off a tendon that was cooked just a little too much, overcooked a little bit, and it snapped in my mouth. And I think I was done for the day eating that. But again, amazing, amazing. Another food choice that I really like is udon. Now, udon is just really good because you can have it in multiple different forms. There's cold udon and there's warm udon. Now, you might ask, well, what's udon? Udon is a Japanese noodle. It's a very thick noodle that is usually used with a special kind of base liquid. The liquid is usually really heavy, or it's actually extremely light and almost like water itself. Now, usually what complements the udon is the tempura. Now, tempura means fried and then food. So, on top of it, there's vegetarian tempura, there's squid tempura, so fish tempura, there's meat tempura, chicken, anything really that you can, fry together and put in there is pretty much acceptable. And everything really is good. I love tempura. And I love it combined with udon. And in Japan, you could get a bowl of udon with a few big slices of tempura, both meat and vegetarian too, for just like $5. And another thing I want to talk about is the transportation system. The transportation system is just really one of the best in the entire country. Again, I hit on this in the other video, but Alan, what was your take on the transportation system in Japan?
So of course it depends on place to place. Say for example, if you were to go to Tokyo, it's going to be a lot different than a very rural area. But I would say that because of the efforts to bring the whole Olympics to Japan, they have been trying to make things easier for English speakers to be able to read and to go through transportation in Japan. Especially in Tokyo, you would actually see written out English signs that say, "Oh, this train line goes to that one. This train line goes to that one." Because so many people take the trains during rush hour is when it gets really crowded, and it might get really claustrophobic for people who are going to Japan for the first time. I would suggest staying away from the trains, either going really early in the morning, say like 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, going in the noontime, going back home, or going in the afternoon, and just eating until nighttime, because that's when everybody's going back home and it gets really packed in there. You won't be able to find any seat. Shinkansen is probably the best experience you'll ever have. Like it doesn't even feel like a person is operating the train. It's so smooth. It feels like a robot is programmed to operate this, and they're always on time. I can't imagine how much uh, the people who are in charge of driving the Shinkansens are paid, but I hope they get paid a lot, because oh my gosh, it is the smoothest ride you'll ever have. And I think there's Wi-Fi on there too, so really high tech, really nifty. I don't remember how fast we were going. I would say maybe 150 miles an hour, but it feels so smooth. Oh my god. And if you're, especially if you're going from Tokyo to a place like Kyoto through the Shinkansen, you have so much scenery, and it's beautiful, very very beautiful.
I thought it was just seamless too, just feeling like how I was riding on air and how quick and how far you can travel. I traveled from Akita to Kyoto on the bullet train, then I traveled from Tokyo all the way to Hiroshima on the bullet train, and then back from Hiroshima to Tokyo on the bullet train. And they were some of the best rides I've ever had in my life. Alan, I guess the last question I want to have for you today is really, what would you tell people about who want to study abroad in Japan or who are really on that fence?
So I think people should study in Japan, not only for the culture, but to get a basis of how they do education over there. I think the way they handle education, even though it's a lot more strict, it and even though it might ask a lot from an individual, I think the way that they teach education over there is a lot better than, say, some of the things that we are taught over here. Of course, there's a level of respect, and there's a level of divide, compared to working with professors over here in the United States. But I think it's all worth it, because you get to see their teaching styles, the way you learn, the way you study. Not only that, you'll be able to learn Japanese, be able to read kanji, learn to speak formally and informally, or with honorifics like keigo, and on top of that, you get to see, and you also get to see how other schools like high schools, elementary schools, middle schools operate in Japan compared to that of the U.S. So it's more of if you study in Japan, look not only at the classes but also the world around you as you're in that country. Thanks again for having me.
Thank you so much for being here today, Alan. It was an amazing interview, and I think anyone who's watching these videos can pretty much say the same exact thing. Your input was really helpful, and it was just really great to hear from someone who's traveled so much back and forth from Japan and getting your knowledge and your feedback on why people should study in Japan. And who knows, maybe you got someone to realize why they should study in Japan. That's all from us today, and my name is Marco Torres. This is Alan Yasuda, and we're here with B4S Media. Don't forget, if you haven't already, please click that like button, subscribe, and click that notification bell for future videos that will be coming out with our videos in our series, and also other videos that B4S Media is producing. Thank you again, and we'll catch you next time.